welcome to the Old Classic Car channel. In this video we're looking at photographs of classic AEC lorries, and to start with we have Jet 855. This fantastic jet fuels tanker is a Mammoth Major Mark III from 1954. And the next old AEC is a military AEC Matador LVS 778, World War II vehicle. Next up, down to Gaydon, one of the classic lorry events they hold down there. BEW 605 is an AEC Mammoth Major, registered in June of 1939 and the livery of the London Brick Company Limited. Next up, a half cab coach. This is based on the AEC Regent chassis. Very smart it is too. If you know anything more about this particular coach, please let me know in the comments. Next up, to the early 1970s, we have ADH 779L. That's an AEC Mandator of, let's have a look, K. Dickens and Sons. There's a Mini and a Leyland FG on the back of it. And over to Llandudno in North Wales, or Llandudno, WLT 999 is a decommissioned Routemaster, first put on the road in January of 1962. Next up, OMJ 943, that's an AEC Mercury, and this particular lorry dates to 1955 and is also in the livery of the London Brick Company Limited. A very appropriate load on the back as well. JFL 677 is another AEC Mercury. This one dates to 1959 and has a much older Fordson standard tractor on the back of it. Completing this little trio, we have another Mercury. This is TZC 529, and this particular truck dates to 1962. This is an interesting one, a head-on view of an AEC Marshall. Now that's a 1979 registration, but I read elsewhere that this was a 1969 lorry, so which one is it? Now sure, this is one of the nicest looking British lorries of all time, the AEC Mammoth Major, here in Mark II form, BBP 425. This particular Mammoth Major Mark II is from 1935. And the half cab double decker bus next, KDT 393, that's a 1951 Regent 3 based with a row body. Spot of Militaria CSL 917, that's an AEC Militant Mark II. This particular truck dates to the late 1950s, 1957 to be precise. Carrying on with these classic British lorries, we've got another in the livery of London Brick Company Limited. This is a 1965 Mammoth Major. I'll go back to the post-war years and this absolutely stunning AEC Mammoth Major KGH 204. This one was put on the road in 1948, and I just think this era of AEC is just stunning. Slightly less stunning condition, we have an ex-World War II AEC Matador here on a 1967 registration, but a much older vehicle, popular in use as a timber tractor following the war. A fire appliance now. This is a Merryweather conversion built on an AEC Mercury chassis, a turntable ladder dating to 1965. There's a beauty taking part on the Cheshire Run in the mid-2000s in the livery of Bay Freight Limited. That's a 1965 Mercury articulated lorry with a swan neck trailer on the back. 303 DLW is an AEC Mercury. This one was put on the road in January of 1962. Clearly a livestock body on that one. There's one that needs a little TLC, another ex-World War II AEC Matador lorry. This was spotted many years ago. Did it go on to be restored? No doubt under that cab there's probably a decent chassis sat there. Another real beauty now, KYE 402, that's an AEC. Now this is down as a Monarch, I've read elsewhere, but there's a badge for Monitor on the radiator, so which one is it? nice little tanker on the back. 2590NX is an AEC Mercury lorry from 1959, taking part on the Cheshire Run for classic lorries and trucks several years ago. Also on the Cheshire Run we've got XOD 493K, that's an AEC Mercury, a tipper-bodied example from 1971, K registration. To a rally field in the mid-2000s, we've got an AEC Matador here, another ex-World War II vehicle, early 1970s registration, but much earlier vehicle than that. Another double-decker Routemaster RSL 259, ex-London Transport of course. Back to Mammoth Majors, and we've got HFX 429. This is an AEC Mammoth Major 3, tipper body, dating to 1954. If you're a fan of AECs, please let me know in the comments. Next up, a head-on view of TUX 271, another Mandator or Mandator. To 1966 now, British Road Services, BRS, and this is a Mandator of 1966. Much earlier now, OY9542 is a 1934 AEC Matador, open-sided cab, not much weather protection there for the driver and his mate. RSJ 996, this was at a classic commercial vehicle event at Donington Park quite a few years ago. That's a Matador. This lovely old coach was spotted one evening at the Goodwood Revival, 699 RPA. That's a Harrington Cavalier bodied AEC dating to July of 1960. The AEC Routemaster here, this one from 1966. Wonderful early Matador here, KGN 371, that's a 1949 registration. If you know anything about any of the vehicles shown in this particular video, the lorries, the trucks, etc., please pop a note in the comments. It's always interesting to find out more about these. BG9503, we saw this last year, that's in Matador Mark II, put on the road in 1947 in the livery of the Birkenhead Brewery Company Limited. GBJ 192, this was down at the East Anglia Transport Museum, we saw this one, an AEC Regent 2, dating to 1947. Okay, back to the military, ex-army example here of a Matador, very well restored example this one. .786 BWX, another Mammoth Major, this is one of the later shaped examples, this one from 1962, clearly a twin steer arrangement at the front there, you can clearly see that. Out to the open road again, and the A41, this is GSK 821, a Mammoth Major 6x4 flat from 1952. Another London Transport bus, slightly earlier than the Routemaster though, this is KLB 721, this is an RT, a 1950 Regent 3 with Park Royal bodywork. To a steam rally quite a few years ago, 742 FUL, that's another AEC Matador. SL9724, that's another Mammoth Major, this is a Mark II from 1952. If you own one of these old lorries, or if you've got a similar classic truck to those featured here, please say hello in the comments, let us know all about it. UIP 989, that's a Mammoth Major from 1959, that's a Mark V version I believe. This beauty was seen as a steam rally a little while back. This is an AEC Mammoth Major 8. This one dates to 1953. This is a Mark III version of the Mammoth Major. Again, twin steer front end on it. Back to the military in the desert colours, AEC Matador with an RAF number on the door. AEC, if you wondered, stands for Associated Equipment Company, by the way. 3254 FK, that's an AEC Mercury, Pantechnicon, from 1963. Still quite a few AECs to go. Here we go, THA42G, another AEC Mercury. This one is from 1969 and in the livery of an owner over in Tarpley in Cheshire. Another army example, that's Mighty Militant. I think this is a Mark III dating to the late 1960s. ORS 562 is on the fairground circuit, very nice indeed, based on an AEC Mercury from 1960. Another wonderful Mammoth Major here, NBP 536, this one's from 1952. These are probably my favourites of all the vehicles in this particular video, but if you have a favourite, please pop a note and say which one it is. Another Routemaster here, WLT 506. I think this was at the Aldridge Transport Museum. Did a video there in 2021. If you've not seen that, please go and have a look at that one. Back to the Cheshire Run, BTD 266L. There's another AEC Mandator. Another ex-military Matador here, TFF266, in the livery of the Mostyn Estate Sawmill, and another example behind it, quite a rare pairing. There's another Routemaster in the livery of Yorkshire Bells doing a city tour in York. This was a few years ago, we spotted this one rumbling by, so I managed to grab a photo before it disappeared. Another Routemaster, this was in Llandudno in the early 2000s, SMK 701F. This one dates to September of 1967. And while we were in Llandudno, we also spotted this ex-military Matador. There's a very eye-catching tanker in the livery of Shell and BP, Petroleum Products, UIP897. That's a Mark III AEC Mammoth Major, dating to 1959. Another military job here. It's quite an impressive vehicle, an AEC Militant. Four photos here taken at earlier vehicle rallies that we've been to over the years. Nice little wrecker at the top right there, tanker at the bottom left. 356 DUL, another example of the AEC Mercury lorry, this one from 1963. Over in Portugal several years ago, we spotted this AEC Regent 5 based double-decker bus at rest. It appears to be converted into a cafe bar of some description. Down at Brooklands, we spotted this Militant, proper heavy piece of kit here. RTD 680L, another example of the AEC Marshall on the Cheshire Run a few years back. First of several photos now of AEC Matadors undergoing or awaiting restoration. I don't remember where it was that I photographed these, but it was probably 20 years ago. There's another one. cabs can always be replaced, but usually the chassis is alright on vehicles like this, so no doubt this one went on to be restored, or no doubt will do if it hasn't already. Cabs are typically ash framed, and in the case of these it appears to be skinned in aluminium. There's a rear view of another one. Just a few more AECs to go. A very well restored example here of the Mammoth Major of the early 1960s. This one in the livery of T.J. Parry and Sons of Shrewsbury. RGC 239, that's an AEC Mercury of 1955. Just a few more of these classic lorries to go, and here we've got a Routemaster that's been converted into a breakdown tender, registration VLT66. Here's an interesting vehicle, a training vehicle, an articulated vehicle, a Road Transport Industry Training Board, it says on the trailer. And rounding out this collection, 201 UXJ, a Routemaster bus of 1961. Thank you very much for watching this video all about AEC lorries, coaches and buses. There are many similar videos on the channel now of commercial vehicles, cars, buses and so on, so please take a look around before you disappear, and there'll be more videos along very soon, so bye for now.